Hello, and welcome to our coverage of Love is Blind. We are here to talk about Love is Blind Season 9, the reunion, or whatever that was that we watched. I'm not alone, of course. I'm here with my two amazing co hosts. First up, we have the amazing Mary Kwiatkowski. Mary, how are you?
I'm doing great. Now, I do have to forewarn everyone on this podcast. It is Halloween as we are recording, and it is like 5 p.m. on Halloween. And I live in a neighborhood with little kids. So, just throughout the podcast, here's my plan. This is not a bit, this is real. I will, every once in a while, you'll just hear me say trick or treat. And then I'm going to disappear for a second. And then I'll come back and I'll let you know what the kids' costumes were because I got to hand out candy.
I'm Jason Reed, everyone. Before Aysha even introduces me, it's a better plan that me and my family have, which is to shut all the doors and the windows, turn off the porch light, and act like no one's home.
No, I put up my Halloween, little power operated blow up Harry Potter outside and a little pumpkin, so it's all good. I'm open for business here on Halloween.
It's so kind of hard, It's
Yeah.
just such a nice thing to do. Besides, instead of what me and my family do.
Yeah, not that the kids deserve it, because last year, after giving out all the candy, I had some leftover candy, and so I just like left it on my porch, fully expecting that some like kid would come by and just take the rest of it. And they did, and that was fine. That's what I opened myself up for. I was fine with that. What I did not appreciate was that they looked at my Ring doorbell and said, "Get better candy," as they ran off after they took it all. And can I just be clear? I got good candy, so I have no idea what you're talking about.
You have to tell us.
I had a good mix of gummy things. So I had like the little mini packages of Twizzlers and Sour Patch Kids, and there was like Reese's cups and Kit Kats and Milky Way. So there was like a mix of good candy. I don't know what they were expecting.
That's not bad.
It wasn't. I know, it was good.
Kids
And I
these days
even-
need nerd clusters.
Well, yeah, but they don't make nerd clusters in like small.
They do here. We have them
do they?
in Texas at HEB. I've been every single time I go to the store, I have to stop myself from buying it because I'm just like, I just want to eat it.
Look, I will fully admit that I have not turned into the like full size jumbo candy bar house, even though there's not that many kids in my neighborhood, so I totally probably could. But it was fine. It wasn't like I was giving out just Tootsie Rolls or something. Come on.
Yeah, I think the Gen, whatever Greek alphabet letter they're using nowadays, I think they might just expect like little bottles of like Prime to be given out, like, on Halloween.
Yeah, I don't have any Beast bars or whatever.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's what they're looking for.
Right. And now let's play a game of horse. I don't know. Let's just continue the theme of this reunion where we just talk about the most random things that had nothing to do with anything.
Bubba Wallace is here. We're all gonna drive Formula One cars around the block and see who can get back fastest. It's like random, so random.
Considering the fact that we only had 3 couples even make it to the very end of the show, and one of them was given like the last 10 minutes of the episode to talk about. Meanwhile, we spent 15 minutes on people who didn't even make it out of the pods and like they needed to play basketball for some reason. What are we doing?
It literally is so ridiculous. But first, if you are listening to this, make sure you subscribe to the Love at First Sight feed. So if this is your first podcast of the season, we talked about the rest of the season. So you can go back and listen. It's also where we have all of our coverage of Married at First Sight, which is in full swing. We have talked about episodes 1 through 7. We have also had an interview with Pastor Cal, who is an expert on this, on Married at First Sight. So make sure you go subscribe to our feed. Also, make sure you subscribe to the RHAP YouTube channel so you can see our lovely faces. But we do have a reunion to talk about. And I was very excited for the reunion because I was like, okay, subpar finale. The reunion should be good. Like we should really dive into like why the couples that broke up before they got to the altar broke up, what happened at the altar. Let's really dig deep. And they decided to spend the first like basically 30 minutes on a couple that did not make it past, didn't even go to Baja.
Why? And for what purpose?
It was so frustrating because it was like, okay, they did want to go ahead and spill the beans about Sparkle Megan, right? But then it was like, what was the point? It really reminded me of season 8, where we spent so much time in the pods with like 4 people who didn't even make it out of the pods. It's just like, what is the point? I get like they want to, it's supposed to be entertainment, but really, what was the point? Who was dying to know what happened with Casey and Patrick?
I mean, I would have been happy with 5 minutes from them, but most of what we got, I did not need the basketball segment, obviously, since we've already talked about it. Here's the other thing that I don't need, and like someone tell me if I'm just getting old or whatever, but I think it's so cringy on these shows where they bring up things like, well, you sent me a TikTok. Well, I sent one. Well, I saw the tweet that whatever. It's like, if we're not talking about direct communication, messages, texts, phone calls, meetups, I don't care about the like tiny little drama of who sent who a TikTok. That it's aging poorly. I think that's what I mean. Like 10 years from now, when someone goes back and watches this, they're gonna be like, what is that about? You know?
Yeah.
I just think it's
When I
so,
sent you the link to that MySpace page,
yeah, exactly. That's how I feel. I feel old listening to them talk about it for whatever reason.
I think the most intriguing part of this reunion was the 5 minutes spent at the very beginning with Miles Smith, whoever that is.
you know what? I recognize the song. I did not recognize him. Like that's a song that I will say I've heard.
Well, they played the song during the season, like that.
Oh, did they?
Yeah, like that was it was part of the promo material during the season, and so yes, the song was familiar. Don't know who Miles Smith is. That's fine. But the most intriguing part was trying to watch all the ladies walk down these stone steps in their heels without tumbling down these steps. You could tell every single one of them was super nervous. It was like, okay, watch where I'm stepping. Like, why did they have me come down these rocky steps as the intro to this? And you know, we are in an outside venue, which is like supposed to thrill me, I guess. I was
I
like,
actually thought the outside venue was pretty cool. Like every once in a while their hair would be blowing and I'm like, oh, this is kind of cool. But the entrance was very dramatic for kind of no reason. And the entrance of them walking down the steps to the song literally took 3 minutes of the show.
yeah, for sure. It was just like, why am I? It's like, how are we going to fill the time of this song? I know we'll introduce every single person as they slowly walk down the steps. It's just like, I'm checking my watch. Like, why am I like? There are many times during this reunion, I'm checking my watch. Like, why am I seeing this right now? Like, why is this reunion in an hour and 11 minutes? And I feel like 52 of the minutes was wasted on absolute filler.
And here's what I will say about Miles Smith. I remember, I don't know if it was last season or 2 seasons ago, the last time we had a musical artist. And I remember at the time saying, this is ridiculous. Who is this person? I don't know this song. I'm never going to hear it again. And that song, I don't know if it's called Ordinary or if it just says Ordinary in it a bunch, turned out to be a very big popular song. There was a lot of memes about it on TikTok.
Yeah.
Now that we're,
okay,
I'm just going to call that out.
Yeah, I did remember. So I was like, I know I've heard the song even before this season. It was like a trending song on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
The song came out in like 2024. And it's just like, it's technically categorized as country, which is probably why it's not in like my regular orbit. But yeah, I think that was the impact of, what's his name? The guy who sings the Ordinary song from last season. He took off. I mean, like I knew
so much so
from,
that you don't even remember his name right now.
Alex Warren.
Yeah. So he
does he have other songs though? I only know that one.
Yeah, he has other songs. Yeah. He was on tour recently, but I did watch him on Netflix because he was part of the Hype House.
Okay.
And that was like few years ago, whenever the houses were like a popular thing on like TikTok.
Yeah.
And so then I was like, wow, he's made it onto Love Is Blind. Like that's a big deal. And then it like went on, and then that song, like people using it for their weddings and all kinds of stuff. But you know, it's still an interesting place to have a musical performance. Like I don't know what they are trying to make this reunion. It's almost like they're trying to make it into something that we're not really asking for. Like the whole purpose of a reunion is to like unpack the issues from the couples from the season, which I feel like we barely got to.
Yeah, and when we did get there, it was basically just volleying back and forth about who was accountable and no one's taking accountability.
Mm-hmm.
Like this was your fault and it was your fault. Okay, I guess we're not going to resolve this now. So I'm like,
Let's keep
okay,
it pushing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I didn't feel anything was resolved, and the other like additional information was just like why am I hearing about this stupid party that everyone went to? Everyone's dating everyone. Like, why do I feel like that's the most dramatic part of the season, and it's some weird party after the fact that we're hearing secondhand?
Was it
like,
the party that Patrick hosted?
Or was it the pool party? Which one?
No,
are you talking
I'm
about?
kidding. Because
It-
Patrick kept
Oh.
being brought into everything. He's like, "Can y'all stop?" Like,
yeah.
if I was there, I don't remember.
Well, there was a pool party that Mike hosted, and then there was some other party that Casey hosted, and these different things happened in this different time span. And I was just like, I probably would care if this was like part of the season and we saw some of this and some of the aftermath in the show, but you just telling me secondhand is not really doing it for me. So I was just like, and it felt like that was the most dramatic part of the episode, where everyone's lobbing accusations back and forth. You were this person, you were with this person. And I'm just like, at a certain point, I don't care. Like,
Exactly.
it's moot to me at this point.
Also, why were they outside? Like, there were several moments they looked at the audience and they were like covered in blankets. And I'm like, why did they do this to them?
I don't know. I liked it. I liked that they were outside.
Why are they having to snuggle up for a reunion show?
And like it didn't add anything for me. It was like, I don't understand why you would do this for an audience that's not going to be able to be there and appreciate it. It's not like the scenery was anything crazy, fun, or good to look at. I was just like, I don't know why you did this. Like,
Maybe it was a liability thing because they knew they were going to be shooting basketballs and they didn't really want to, if somebody shoots it too high, they didn't want to knock out a light. I don't know.
It just didn't add anything to my experience, and I don't think it added anything to really anyone else's experience, I guess, except Mary. But it was just like, okay, you're outside. Why should I care?
Yeah, it really sucks because it's like, I don't want to just be like crapping on the show and crapping on the reunion, but like, I really was looking forward. Like, if it was good, I would give it all credit. When Nick and Vanessa have done a good job in the past, I've given them credit. So it was just kind of like, it felt flat for me.
I think for the Nick and Vanessa progress report, as we have to keep checking in on how they're doing every reunion, I think they did good this reunion. I don't think they encroached too much. I thought they were like kind of just right in butting in when we needed to move forward or asking more probing questions. I thought they did a good job here. Vanessa wasn't trying to steal anyone's baby or getting too invasive. So I thought they did a really good job. It's just, and another, we're going to keep critiquing it. It's just the fact that a lot of things that came out here already came out in
in real life,
in the press, in interviews they've done, and because I heard this Madison story about Casey word for word in another interview she had done in a clip I had seen on some other social media. So I'm like, so if you're not going to lock down the cast and be like, you're not allowed to talk about anything that's going on to not spoil things, then the reunion's going to feel like just information reheated. Like, I already heard this stuff. Like, I don't need to hear it again.
Right. Well, they did start out with Sparkle, Megan, and Jordan because they were like, this is the biggest news we have. Let's go ahead and put it out there that Sparkle Megan has had a baby. She did lock in the timeline. She told us filming wrapped in April. She met, what's his name? Paul. Yeah, she met Paul in July. And then 3 months later, they got pregnant with baby Brooks. And Brooks is like 2 months old at this point. 2.5 months old. So I wish I could have been excited, like surprised.
I was.
Like,
yeah, Mary,
yeah,
how did
Mary,
you
how'd
feel?
I remained unspoiled. I know that I had asked y'all at the end of the last podcast. That was not a bit. I truly did not know. I think I will say that here's what I feel like I was right about. Because I had predicted that they would get back together. Obviously, that was wrong. But what I think I was right about was that I felt like Megan like wanted to be in a relationship and that she was going to like lock something down with somebody. So to see that she's happy now, has a family, I'm glad that we kind of got the full circle conversations and so much through the pods and then with Luca and here like has to do with her wanting to be a mom and those thoughts. So I think that was a pretty good story arc. I think out of all the couples, they seem to be genuinely on the best terms. They both seem kind of, like we said all season, kind of the most mature and serious about this whole process. So yeah, I mean, I was surprised, but pleasantly so. I don't know, because I haven't looked into any of the drama about it, like whether or not people are like feel any type of way about the timeline.
People were questioning
Personally,
the timeline. They were like, "Oh, this had to have. If you think about the timing, it had to happen before they broke up." Which I think she made it very clear, like it just happened quickly after, and
yeah,
not
and
necessarily that there was crossover.
it doesn't even sound like she met the guy until after they had wrapped filming and stuff like that. Like, I think the thing is about these shows, if you're on a show because you really want to find love and you really want to be in a serious relationship, and the show itself is like an escalated timeline, I don't see why in real life after the show you wouldn't necessarily have an escalated timeline. We see this all the time with people who go on this show, and then by the time they're at the reunion, they're married to someone else or whatever, or engaged or have a kid. Or this is, I don't think this is the first time that someone has either been pregnant or had a child. Maybe not on this show, but I feel like,
yeah, it is on this show. Like to have
is
a
it
whole
okay?
baby by the time the reunion, yeah.
A whole ass baby.
We've definitely had people who are seriously with someone else or married or engaged or whatever. I don't know. It doesn't bother me. Like, to me, it's the same thing of when you know people who get divorced and then are married to someone else pretty quickly after because they know they want to be in a marriage.
And the timelines keep, not the timelines, but the amount of time between filming and reunion keep getting longer and longer. Like this time it was a year and a half. I think we had recently gotten to, it was a year after filming. I think when we first started this thing was 6 months after filming. So like they're cranking these seasons out so fast now that because there are so many seasons in the queue waiting to be aired, it's just like at some point we're gonna get like, it was 3 years ago these people did this Love Is Blind, let's see where they are all now. Oh, they've all moved on. Oh, great. So it doesn't feel, for some people it still feels very fresh, which is just like, that's interesting that it feels so fresh for you a year and a half later. Others are just like, it's a thing that happened in my life and I'm moving on.
Well, and I think maybe that's what I've been frustrated with, and we kind of talked about a little bit with like the parties and stuff they've had since then, is, hey, I didn't get to see the pool party, so I actually don't care about all of the drama that's gone down since you all have broken up, with random texts and who's dating who from the pod and who's got a new person and who's friends with who. It's like, I want to hear your reactions to things that you've seen on the show or deep dives into the drama of what went down. And we got that a little bit, but I do think that's a reason why it's better to have a reunion a month or two after the show wraps as opposed to a year and a half later, because half of the stuff that people are talking about didn't even happen on the show.
Yeah.
It still feels like they're all being super messy and super like immature and things, but it doesn't hit as hard when we can't see it on camera. I think that's also a part of this, where like so much stuff happened off camera. Like the amount of times people said off camera this happened, off camera that happened. It's like, I mean, that kind of just defeats the whole purpose of why we're watching the show. We want to see things happen on camera. And if you are coming into this being so cognizant of the cameras and refusing to do things on camera, then why are we watching the show? Because I don't feel like I'm getting enough entertainment out of you secondhand telling me things that are happening.
Yeah. Well, Sparkle Megan decided, look, I'm not gonna be a part of that. She went dark completely. Was not around people. People, like even Allie was saying she was close to her and hadn't heard from her and was shocked she had a baby. And I was like, that is wild.
It's so, because because you know, Mary didn't want to hear what the streets was saying last episode, and we were like, okay, me and Asia will talk after we wrap the show, and me and Asia were talking after Mary left, off pod. I was just like, well, she can't have been actually pregnant. It had to be like some surrogacy, had to be like some adoption. She decided to jump into this really quick, and Asia's like, no, I think she was actually pregnant. I was like, well, how could that be? How could no one have seen this? How could we have not heard about this? And I guess it's because Megan moved into an underground bunker after she got pregnant and decided to have no communication with anyone, because the fact that everyone was so surprised, I was like, how are you all so surprised?
I mean, if she's not going to these little pool parties and stuff, and she's not reaching out to them, they're not just going to run into each other at the grocery store.
I completely relate to the idea of doing a thing, being on the show. I've not been on a show, but like there are plenty of things where I will do an activity, and then when the activity is over, I go back to my life and my friends and my family, and I don't feel the need to only hang out with the people who I just did an activity with, and not in a negative way. But
Case in point, when this ends, I won't hear from Mary again until Love Is Blind season 10 comes around.
Jason, you know what? If you want to chat, we can schedule a time to catch up.
Let's do it.
You're like, here's your text you were looking for.
Yeah. Look, I just assume that nobody cares and wants to hear from me.
I don't want you to feel obligated. I don't feel obligated to talk to me now, but you know.
But I also think the other part of it is, which is obviously like the second, if she had not gotten pregnant, maybe that it would have been a different story. But because she did, and she clearly wanted her pregnancy, and like she already got some, hate sent to her, and some questions of timeline and things. But if she was trying to respect her life, her child's father and her child's life, then I could totally understand that she would just be like, I'm actually just going to remove myself from the spotlight while all of this goes down until I have time to like speak about it publicly. Because I'm sure they're kind of told, like, I don't know what the legality with these things is of, could she have just publicly announced that she was dating someone else and had a kid while the show is still airing? Probably would have had to wait until it finished, right?
AD did it from Love Is whatever the other show is.
I just don't think anyone could put in a contract that you are not allowed to reveal life events about yourself,
especially if you're not having the reunion for like a year and a half later.
Yeah,
that's so frustrating.
I don't think that's realistic.
It's possible. I don't know the rules. I don't know what all the rules about these things, but I guess I would just say, like, I think that it makes sense that she's like. Also, I have to go back. Okay, so she's 33. Like, how old is everyone else? To me, it was like, yeah, this is just the mature thing to do when you're an adult with a, I don't know, real relationship in life. But
here's the thing: it was less about her announcing life events; it's more about spoiling the show. So there are guidelines that contractually you cannot publicly post something that would reveal the outcome of the show. In this case, if she posts she's pregnant, then it's like, oh shoot, then people are going to assume certain things about her relationship with Jordan on the show.
I kind of felt like it was more her protecting her peace than anything else.
Yeah, that's absolutely. I'm talking about the point with her not post. You're saying
right, but that's what I was trying to say, Jason. Is I think that she was just protecting her and her child's peace from not doing that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was just so shocking to me that no one on that stage knew.
Well, I think because the truth is, maybe she's not that close with them. Maybe she doesn't feel the need to go to pool parties and hang out and be in drama with all these people, especially because she's in a serious committed relationship with a child.
Yeah, that obviously illustrated that she was not like, close to those people. And I do like, I don't think we got into enough of like, okay, like, I don't think this was planned. Like, like how do you feel about it like happening so fast? Or
she said enough. She said like it happened 3 months in, sooner than we would expect it. But
were you trying to make it happen? Did it happen by accident? Or like,
I think that's the implication.
I'm sure you don't want to say that
sooner than expected. Not that she was trying.
She didn't say sooner than expected, did she?
She said it happened when she was explaining it. She said it happened 3 months into us dating, and it was kind of it was like the way that I implied it with how she said it seemed like, well, there it is. Not like, we would have wanted it at 2 months, but it happened at 3 months.
When you go to
more like this is it. This is what happened.
Yeah, when you go on Love Is Blind and you're like, hey, I want to get married to a stranger, basically, I wouldn't blame you for being like going into a relationship for 3 months in. I like you. Let's have a baby together. I don't know. I'm not sure. And I'm not sure. Like, I'm assuming the relationship status is she and baby daddy are actually together, making it work.
It seems like
getting engaged, you get married. It felt like there was not a lot of information given.
Yeah, no, I'm very much. I mean, I'm like 99%. Assuming that they are together. But I thought it was funny that everyone on stage was genuinely shocked. But then Nick's like, "What?" And then he goes, "I think we have some pictures of the baby."
Yeah, like,
what?
Come on. Come on. And it was interesting because Jordan, they asked Jordan, like, Jordan, are you shocked? He's like, no, I'm not shocked. Like, no, I'm not shocked because someone, he said disgustingly, which, hey, I agree with, decided to DM him, I guess, to taunt him about this, let him know about this.
My understanding was most likely, I mean, I'm completely making like this is apropos of nothing, but I'm assuming that it was either, hey, she cheated on you while you were together, or is this your child? Like, I would assume that was the implication of whatever the message he received was.
Yeah, so he called her and she told, like, do you think she had any place to be like, I should at least tell Jordan like that this is happening, or to be expecting this, or what?
No, I don't think she really owes him that, but I'm glad that she was at least honest in the like it sounded like it was a productive conversation and just like, hey, this is where I am with my life, and yes, this did happen. I've been very private about it.
Yeah.
You know. So that seemed like if that felt like a very mature off-camera conversation that they had, and it seemed very much so like Jordan has moved on. I mean, I know he said he's only been on a couple of dates, which they made a big deal about with like showing the audience, which they did show a woman that I was like, she looks familiar. And sure enough, it was Hannah Kosh from the influencer version of Survivor. I haven't even watched it, but there's only so many people that played it that, like, you know, they posted so much about it. And I was like, what the heck? That's the girl from the influencer Survivor. And I went to her Instagram and she showed herself at the reunion.
I was impressed that you know, they didn't fill the audience with random past Love Is Blind participants. The only person I actually recognized was KB's mom was in the audience. I didn't know if like I recognized her, but I didn't really recognize anyone else. I guess they've stopped that practice. Like they've heard the our input about like, why are you bringing all these random Love Is Blind past people here? So I like that it was seemingly mostly normies except for KB's mom and an influencer that Asia recognized, and Chris Paul,
and then the significant others of
Chris
everybody
Paul
who
and
was,
Paul.
Yeah, Chris Paul and Paul were there.
Chris Paul, and then
just Chris,
another significant other later on.
Oh yeah,
I forgot her name.
Somebody else's.
Oh yeah. Melinda.
There was like a Melissa and a Marissa.
Miranda.
Miranda.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
And they showed two women, so I was like, is it the one on the left or the right?
It was the one who was smiling and waving.
I thought it was the one on the right that was like.
Oh, I thought it was the one on the left. So I don't
know. The one on the right was like stone face. Like, I don't like hearing all this stuff about my man's past relationship.
And see, that must be so weird to like go to a reunion show where they're going to drag up stuff from a past relationship after you've been together for like a year, and you have to hear about all of this, but then they have to sort of wrap things in a bow and end on it being like, but everyone's good now, right? They're not that bad of a person anymore. and maybe that is why so many of the people, I feel like, kind of ended on like sort of more positive notes with each other, because they all know like, yeah, but they're actually like dating someone else now. So it was really the people who were still single that had the most just petty drama back and forth.
Yeah, so it was so funny how they pivoted to each couple, because with this, they pivoted from Sparkle, Megan, and Jordan to Casey and Patrick, because Casey was the only one on stage who knew that Sparkle Megan was pregnant. And I wonder if that's like Casey had heard about it and was like, hey, Megan, this is what I'm hearing. Because Casey seems like she's very much so trying to stay in the orbit of Love Is Blind. So I wonder how that happened.
Maybe. I have to say this because it's been bugging me all season, and I don't know what the overlap is, but especially in this picture, Casey looks so much like this YouTuber named Makara Tours. So if anyone listening to this knows who Makara Tours is, completely different personality. I'll just say that, but they look exactly the same. Makara is awesome though. Check out her YouTube if you really like crafty stuff. She's very cool.
Is Makara paying you, Mary? Should we be getting?
She's awesome. I just like, I'm a big fan. Okay.
Right.
I don't be making side deals with people to sponsor this podcast, but if you are, me and Asia deserve some. You know, Asia don't need it, but like, you know, we deserve some extra money.
We'll talk in the off season, and I'll explain why I love Makara Tours so much. Okay.
Oh yeah. Hey, that's something we can bond over. Yeah, I love that.
I love watching friendships blossom.
Yes.
But yeah, the Casey Patrick thing, it's so interesting because I kind of loved Patrick's entire vibe of this whole thing, which was just like, I'm above the drama, I'm over this, don't bring me into this, yada yada. But he was also at all the events where there was drama. You can't have it both ways. He also, okay, let's talk about the ring thing, because it sounds like, based on all the information we got, it's not like Patrick had to pay for it. And it's not like, so honestly, why is he even trying to get this ring back? It's just symbolic. You didn't pay for it. The only reason to want a ring back, in my opinion, that you have given to someone is because you paid for it. And there's, you know, whatever, and you want to get your money back or whatever, or if it's like an heirloom ring. It's neither of those things. This ring technically means nothing. It's come from one place. You handed it to her. She now has it. If she wants to keep it for, I don't know, a keepsake or whatever, I mean, I guess. Like, I just don't understand why this is even a big deal. To me, if the show paid for it, I could believe that the show might want it back.
I think he made it clear later when he was asking for it back, he was like, on principle.
Yeah.
Because I literally think that's it.
But then you can't be like, on principle, but also I'm above all this drama. If you're really above the drama, you would not have cared about the ring thing at all. And I'm sure people in the comments are gonna be like, no, like, you can want it and not whatever. To me, the part that got ridiculous was him telling her to apologize. Sure, she gives back the ring. Then the show is like, you got away with it this time, but now we're going to bring in a basketball competition, which went into like triple overtime for no reason. We didn't need to see all of that. And then she gets the ring back. And I'm like, all of this didn't matter. What are we doing?
So I think the ring thing was symbolic and on principle. I do think that was, I think that is the thing, whether you pay for the ring or not, it is like I gave you this ring, no matter whether I bought it or not, that signified our love, signified that we were going to get married. So I feel like he is within his rights to be like, well, then you don't get the ring, right? But I think he took that. I think he took it overboard. I think he heard people like, yeah, get that ring back, Patrick. He was like, I'm going to stand 10 toes down to get this ring back. I think Patrick is buying a little bit too much into the poor Patrick hype of it. I think he's going a little too far into his skis about it to demand apologies from her. Like, because I think he feels like the audience is behind him. So he's like, I gotta keep this train going. I feel like
it feels though that she's trying to villainize him though. Like she keeps saying like she's really trying so hard to make him the bad guy.
She's trying to de-villainize herself is what she's doing.
Yeah,
she's trying to get the villain's thing. She's trying to get the villain's thing off of her, which she did a terrible job of doing. Yes. Your job here was to get yourself in a better light. And this never works out for people. I don't understand why they ever come back to the show and do this reunion. It never works out for them. But she comes here, he demands the apology, which I thought was a little bit overstepping. I was like, I don't know if you need to phrase like you demand an apology. But then she doesn't give one. She just sits there like silent. Like, no, you do low-key like you need to give an apology to this man.
But he also was trying to say, and I think this is where it ruined it for me, is he was trying to be like, I want to give you the opportunity to apologize and say, and then he like gave her words to say, and say these words because I'm trying to look out for you and I don't want the internet to hate you. But you lose all credibility in that by saying all of this out loud.
The Reddit nice guy thing. It's like, this doesn't feel genuine.
Right. If she turns around then and starts apologizing, it just looks like that she was just doing what he wanted. Like it doesn't seem genuine from her either way. And I want to, let me just real quick. Let me tie this last bow on the ring situation because I just know people are going to be upset. First off, number one, I'm only discussing ring giving back situations in the context of this show, particularly with these people. In real life, do whatever you want with the ring, whatever. I think for me, the reason I was frustrated with all this is to me, it seems like their relationship is so over. It's been a year and a half. Why are you still hung up on this ring thing? A ring, like, and if your whole point is that you just want it back to somehow act like you won, or because people are trying to tell you, it actually doesn't make you look like the good guy, in my opinion. It makes, to me, the only good thing you could have done here has just been like, yeah, I'm over it. She can have the ring. Who cares? People will still be on your side then, and you don't actually care about the ring. It's not like it really has. I mean, maybe it has symbolic value. I don't know. Again, I'm also saying this as a woman who's never given a ring to someone. So like, what do I know? Like maybe this is like a very big deal if you're the person to propose and you like really, really feel like on principle you need it back. I don't know.
Mary, I think what you just said is exactly what he should have done. He should have come here, acted like it was no big deal. This is a year and a half ago. I'm way over it. It affected me at the moment. It really hurt me, but I'm not going to let her, actions affect me in a negative way. But with him over, because I feel like at the time this was filmed, he's probably at the height of like people cheering him on. People are like, she did you wrong, Patrick. She did you wrong. So he came into this like, I need to keep this thing going. So he demands apologies. He's telling her what she should say because he is in the right. He is Mr. in the right here, according to everyone online. So I think he did too much here by demanding the ring, demanding the apology. I think he just took it a step way too far. I think if he came in here like, yeah, it hurt, but I'm not gonna let it affect me. That's what he should have done when coming in here.
Yeah, and there's other people we'll see this about, but I think on the topic of like, if you're villainized by the show, what is your best tact at the reunion to make yourself look better? And I really actually do think that your best approach is kind of what Nick is going to do, which we can talk about it, which is basically you apologize. It's true. Some people are still going to say that that's just performative and that like they don't really mean it, but you just apologize, and then you end it. And that's it. And you don't bring up any kind of he said, she said, or whatever. It's just you apologize, and then some people are mostly just going to forget about you in the future. And that's it. That's the best case scenario.
Yeah. I really need to know what does Chris Paul having coming up that needs promoting on Love is Blind on
He's
Netflix?
not even like, he has no connection with like Denver or anything, right?
No, he plays for the Los Angeles
Clippers.
So
like why was he here? Why him?
I don't know. And there wasn't anything like he didn't promote anything like, hey, we got a Netflix documentary about Chris Paul coming up. Go check it out when you get a minute.
Is he like BFFs with the host? Nick? Yeah.
I don't know. He apparently just really likes Love is Blind. And I guess he demanded to be part of the reunion. And they were like, hey, how can we say no to Chris Paul? And which Chris Paul, who I think is like the most famous, non-famous basketball player. Like, I don't think he is that into the zeitgeist that everybody's going to know who Chris Paul is. He's not LeBron James. Like, it's not like everyone's going to be like, oh my God, it's Chris Paul. Everybody's going to be like,
no.
Who's that? Chris Paul? Okay, cool. I guess. Why is he here? And then to have this protracted segment of this, like,
you're going to keep it going.
Oh, this basketball
like,
thing
what?
that no one cares about, that, we spent so much time on the ring conversation. We get, everyone has their input about whether Casey should get the ring back. Casey eventually gives the ring back via Nick. Nick takes the ring, gives it to Patrick. Patrick has the ring back. And then Chris Paul just throws out there, hey, if Casey wins, she should get the ring back, which turns into canon now. Like, if we did all this emotional work for Patrick to get his ring back, but now he's just going to lose it on a nonsense game. It's like, okay, I don't know why we did any of this. All of this should have been left on the cutting room floor. The whole basketball game should have been edited out. Someone should have looked at this afterwards and was like, why did we do that? Like, why?
Literally, no one pushed back.
Yeah, like, why?
Everyone's like,
really
that's actually going to be a really good
should've.
segment. Like, I think, TikTok's going to eat that up.
Yeah, like, why? Like, just have Chris Paul in the audience, make a chyron. Chris Paul, NBA superstar and Love is Blind fan. He's just in the audience chilling. You can mention, hey, Chris Paul's here, and be done with it. We didn't need any of this basketball. It was just like, it was cringe at a certain point. I was like, why are we doing this? Like, why is this still happening 5 minutes later?
Yeah. It was absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, I think it was 27 minutes on the clock when we moved forward, and I was just like, oh, this is absolutely ridiculous. Okay. Can you pause it? So they found a way to transition into Joe and Madison because they were like, Casey, so you've gone on a date with somebody. Who is it? Are they here? Like, it was just so.
It's so weird how Casey is the hub, right? Like, Casey is our transition point.
It feels like she's trying to like make that her orbit. Like, she's so intertwined. But yeah, she went on a few dates with Joe, and we had already heard through social media world that Madison knew about Casey and Joe having, some type of chemistry because she saw it. And
I'm sorry, I can't hear Casey and Joe without adding the other Joe or Casey and JoJo. Every time you say that.
Casey and JoJo. I miss them. reunion tour.
Yeah, I can't. That's the songs in my head. But yeah, please. I'm sorry for the tangent. Keep going.
But like, here's what's ridiculous, because she's like, yeah, we went out for like a month and a half, and then I don't know, it just kind of fizzled, and it seems like, oh, okay, this was kind of nothing. But then throughout the rest of the reunion, every once in a while, she'll like mention something like, yeah, I was crying over him, or like blah blah blah, and I'm like, wait, so did it just fizzle, or is there, because you're talking like there's a lot more drama?
Well, I feel like Joe said it fizzled. Joe, I don't know if Casey feels like it fizzled. Joe is the one who's like, we went there for a month and it just kind of fizzled out.
It fizzled for him.
Casey's like, oh, fizzled, huh? That's how you put it. Okay, because that's not how it felt for Casey, obviously.
Yeah, this was very interesting.
It feels like both Joe and Casey were just, going.
They needed a rebound.
Who didn't I date from the Pod Squad? Who else from the Pod Squad can I find to date? Because I don't know who. I'm assuming Avery is part of the Pod Squad. Who is Joe's current girlfriend?
I don't think so.
I think she's just a rando.
Because they were all talking about her like she was familiar, and it was just like, can you explain who Avery is? Is Avery here? Like, why?
It's like those people that like you're just talking and they're like, yeah, so like I was hanging out with Kevin and like da 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 da, and then you're like, you gave me no introduction.
There's no context here. Like, I have zero context for who Avery is. Why I should care about Avery? Because Joe was talking. I think
there is no Avery in the Pod Squad.
Because Joe was like, didn't you invite Avery to the party? And I was like, okay, so Kate knows Avery. Is Avery part of the group? Like, what's going on? So, and Aysha telling us that she's not part of the original cast. So it's like, again, just no context at all, and no context into a situation that I don't care that much about, because you're telling me about it secondhand after the fact, and we're spending 10 minutes on it in this reunion.
Yeah, I think it's because they got to a point where, like, yeah, they gave it, like, they were referencing Joe's girlfriend, but then it was like, okay, at a point they were gonna have to keep saying Joe's girlfriend. So then we get this introduction to Avery, who's this mysterious character who's not even there, right? Like, if she's Joe's girlfriend, why? I mean, everybody else's significant other is in the audience, and so especially to be discussed so much, because yeah, if she's not a part of the Pod Squad, how did her and Kate become friends? Like, did Kate introduce Joe?
Who knows? And I think, and Madison took this time to be like, all right, now's time for me to jump in with my whole assertion that something's fishy going on. Maybe Joe was with Casey before we broke up, which is like just Madison trying to, I guess, grasp at straws, trying to figure out, like, is this why we broke up? Like, does this have something to do with it? It was her assuming things, which Joe, according to Joe, was like, no, that's not true at all. So it's just like, I don't know. It was so messy and convoluted.
And I have to bring up the Kate situation for a moment. So I don't know what happened. I looked down for a second, because when they introduced, they're like, and now comes, from what I heard, Casey Kate and Patrick Baby Seal. And I was like, oh, I didn't know that Casey's last name was Kate. And then there was another girl, and I was like, who's this person?
I heard Casey and Baby Seal Patrick, and I was like, who's this other person?
Yeah,
that's
who
Kate.
is this?
Okay, Kate, who parlayed the most out of this, parlayed the minimal amount of time she's on this show into appearing on stage for some reason to read Nick the Riot Act about a relationship and moment in the show that I totally disregarded, didn't care about anymore. I was like, she did a good job. That's how you parlay this into something. I mean, she could be on Perfect Match season whatever, because she's really parlaying this whole thing.
She's like, look, I need to be on stage because, for one, I'm friends with Avery. Two, I need to unpack my relationship with Nick. I'm friends with Madison, so I need to back her up when she talks about Joe.
I need to call Nick out for being, performative.
Meanwhile, Brendan's at home like, what? I didn't get the invite. Like, what the heck?
I don't even know when this was happening.
It's like, a year and a half later going, I guess I just thought that they weren't doing a reunion this season because it's been so long.
Exactly.
I never got the call.
Yeah. We did hear more about Joe's relationship with Brendan. Like, they are super close. We did see in real life that Joe had Brendan on his podcast. So that's when I was like, oh, there's Brendan. It like came across my feed somewhere.
Did Brendan ever find a personality? Because I swear, every time I saw him on this show, I was like, are you actually a living, breathing person with thoughts and feelings? Because I don't really know.
I thought it was interesting how, like, if we take it back to Joe and Madison, how Joe described their relationship. He said all they did was fight and a nice little what do you call it? Isn't it like simile or some alliteration? Whatever the grammar term is.
What's the thing you're trying to say?
Asia can't even say F for some reason. They said fight and F word. That's all. All Joe and Madison did.
Yeah.
Which, you know, I think there was a lot of questioning of, did Joe find Madison attractive? And I was saying that, you know, they were having sex a lot, so I think he found her attractive enough. There was the one moment in the beginning of their journey outside the pods where he was like, yeah, I normally date you know, more petite women, but I just think at the end of the day that something about Madison's personality did not strike him as what he wanted. I think that was more of the issue there than the body issue. I think the show made it more of a body issue. I think
so, because we were very confused throughout. We're like, he is, I think we all, at least the three of us by default, just thought, oh, well, he doesn't like her because he's not attracted to her, because that's the only thing we were being told, really.
Yeah. But I don't think he liked her as a person and her personality. That's the vibe I'm getting. And of course, like, you would think this would be the time to corner Joe and be like, Joe, what is it? Why did you break up with Madison? And we didn't even really get the question asked. And we still got no reason.
Trick or treat.
Oh, here we go. The first trick or treaters. I can't wait. But yeah,
that's what I didn't get. Like, why weren't we focused on the couple at hand? We're too busy focused on Joe and Casey, and Kate's thought about, you know, what party they're at. Then okay, the couple we are talking about is Joe and Madison. What went wrong here? Why did things end before making it to the altar? What was it that caused it to end? And it was just kind of like that was just kind of left in the air.
I think they thought they were doing us a service by giving us all these parallel connections and more of the story, but it really just made it a lot more messy and convoluted. I think if you had given Casey and Patrick a segment, not even include Kate at all, give Casey and Patrick a segment, sent them off on their way so we could just focus on the couples themselves, that would have been a lot better, instead of having Casey and Patrick and Kate all chime in on Joe and Madison, where we just kind of were unfocused the whole time. All right, Mary, give us the report. Who did we get at the door?
We had a baby Yoda and we had a unicorn. So
his name is Grogu. Okay,
sorry.
First of all, let's get that straight. What was the candy given?
The child selected a Reese's cup, and then the other child selected some gummy Jolly Rancher thing. I don't know. That was just in the bag with all the other stuff. I only have like 4 of those. I tried them. They're not very good. So.
It's very nice that you let them select.
Testing.
It's very nice you let them select. When I was trick-or-treating, I was just given what I was given and I had to go on my way about it. You let them pick from a menu of candy. I like that. I don't come to your neighborhood and trick-or-treat.
My favorite is the little kids because they always just take like one piece, and even though I'm trying to be like, no, you can have more, they just take one. And then you get the big kids who grab like 2 handfuls.
They're like,
yeah, exactly.
Thank you.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The other thing about the whole Joe and Madison situation is just that, like, I feel like at no point did we really ever ask them any questions about any specific things that happened to them on the show. It was just sort of like nebulous. What's happening now? What's happened since then? I think maybe that's kind of what we've been talking about the whole time. Is like, I actually have more things from the show I would like to know about, like moments between them. Like, let's talk about your breakup. Like the only thing we really got was just like her saying again that she's never really going to get a clear sentence out of him about why he broke up with her. And I guess I just wish that he had said like, yeah, it's just, I didn't love you, the end. But nobody wants to say that. They all want to be like, well, no, I had such love for you. I just knew it wasn't right, or whatever. It's like,
well, he did tell her like, you're not my person, this or that. But like, why am I not your person? Like, what about me is not your person enough? Like, is it the way I laugh? Is it the jokes I make? Is it the things I talk about? What about me is not the person that you're looking for? Like, I think is what she's trying to get. What we all want to know. And Joe will refuse to give it to us. They could have asked him. He was just like, I'm not going to tell anybody. So they were just like, we're going to cut that out. We're going to keep in the basketball stuff. Leave that in. Take that out.
Also, this is not a hot take, but I just want to say, if you're on a show like this, any comment you make negative about how someone looks, is going to make you look like a villain. So
Yeah.
maybe just don't do that, because it's never going to be shown in the right way. When Joe is like, oh, that's not how I meant it. I meant it. Yeah, but they can clip it and show it however they want. And so you will always be known as the guy who didn't find her attractive, whether you did or not. This might be controversial. Little bit of a double standard, though, of they were acting like, oh, you can't say anything about how she looks, but then Allie's over here being able to be like, Anton's feet are disgusting or whatever. I don't know.
Oh, with the flip flops.
Yeah,
I mean, I think
maybe
there's
like don't comment on.
I think there's a different degree. There's a different degree to
It is.
it.
It's definitely a different degree, but
Yeah.
like, I don't know.
Yeah. I hear you. I just like you said, when you're asked that question, like, oh, is this your? Because you know production's going to try and get
Yeah.
that sound clip out of you. Like they're asking probing questions like, oh, is she the type you normally date? Either say, yeah, definitely. She's super attractive. I find her super, like, I think she's hot. Or just say, I don't have a type. Like I date any and everyone. So
Yeah.
that's your best bet. Don't fall for the trap that production's trying to lay for you.
Well,
with Joe
and
Date.
even so, there are just so many other things you could say than like, oh, I normally date more petite women.
Yeah,
You don't need to say that, actually.
at all.
I think the fact that we ended this segment with obviously we had more questions and Madison still isn't clear why they broke up, and this is like a year and a half later. Like, I think that just goes to show that this was a very unproductive segment. Even just to learn about like that they met up after and made out, and he's like, maybe it was wrong that we made out.
Okay, and I will say I felt two ways about this, because on the one hand, this did feel so real of like, I feel like people like will break up, feel like they have closure, and then they'll just like go out and start making out, and then they're like, well, what? That was such mixed signals. Yes, it was. It's messy. Don't do it. But it does happen. I get it. It does happen.
Exactly.
And this is why, if you really want to break up with someone and you don't want them to get any mixed signals, you need to just actually have a clean break and then probably not hang out at a pool party anytime soon.
Exactly. But they took this transition because
this was Kate's transition now.
This was Kate being friends with Madison.
Who?
Right.
Exactly.
Made them say, oh yeah, by the way, Kate, you dated Nick. Okay, so let's talk about you and Nick. And it was very much so Nick just like coming in prepared to give his apology to Kate for how they broke up at that
and there's no winning here. Nick will still have people who say that he sounds like this was a planned, thing, and it doesn't feel genuine, whatever. You're right. In some ways it definitely did, but also this is about the best movie you're going to be able to do.
Yeah, for sure. And it felt like because now I'm even just thinking about it now. It felt like we were more focused on Kate and Nick than Nick and Annie. I was
exactly
like Annie.
This is my biggest complaint of the whole reunion.
Yeah, Annie had 10 words that she said, and that was it. I don't know. I don't know if Annie was like super drunk, and most of the things she said were incoherent, and they were like, "We got to just take all this out." Like she said maybe 10 words, and that was it. And they didn't probe about the relationship.
No,
really at all.
There was no question, and I don't know why, because she had some bizarre like moments on the season that I'm surprised they didn't bring up at all. Like they talked a bit about Nick's love bombing in the pods, particularly to Kate, but they didn't bring up at all like, hey, Annie, you were like really stuck on this idea that he didn't love you as much as you loved him, and that was your one argument over and over. Do you want to talk about that? How did that feel watching that back? Do you want to give us any more context? Nothing.
Look, I just want to believe that the actual reunion was like 3 hours, and then this is more so on the editors for breaking it down this way, because like the fact that Annie even said, "Oh, I realized how hard I was trying to force this relationship." All right, let's unpack that. Like, okay, did you think there was a genuine connection at the beginning? Like, what was there ever a point that you think that Nick was actually in love with you? Because we focused on so much on Nick and Kate, it felt like Annie was just defending Nick because she's trying to defend her decision, and then she tries to defend her decision again by saying, "Yeah, everyone is DMing me about how I should have chose Brendan over Nick, and I don't think that I should have." So I don't know. She was just trying to prove that she was right in her decision, even though like it didn't work out. And even though she admitted to forcing the relationship, I was just so confused on the direction of this segment.
I think the fact that we did not delve into a couple of important things and moments dealing with Nick and Annie, including her several rants about how he didn't love her as much as she loved him.
Mhm.
Like we talked about that. Why didn't we go into that? And also the big elephant in the room for them, which was the comments made about LGBT rights and matters and things like that. And I don't know if Netflix is just like, that's a little too hot for us to touch.
Probably.
But you brought it into the conversation by showing it on your show.
Showing it.
So you can't have it both ways. And I don't know if they were asked that and it was like, ooh, that's not great for them, us, the show. Let's take it out, or what. But I feel like it's a disservice to the people that watched the show and had more questions about it, not to bring it up here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just assume that they just don't. They want to. I think they do want to have it both ways. They want to be able to show, oh, look, there's different types of people with different controversial opinions, and maybe that's a reason why people might get together or not get together in the pods. But then they don't want to actually like talk about it outside of.
But see, that's
structure.
what I was confused about, because okay, you want to focus so much on Casey and Patrick, which is all off camera after the show. Did Nick and Annie meet up? Did they try to reconcile? Was there anything there? Was it just done? That was just really, really odd. And I don't know why they left that out, especially Nick being on such damage control on social media, like during the season. I don't know. We don't know why he ended things so abruptly, because it wasn't shown. Yep. They did talk about it.
We did touch on the guys talking so much crap about Nick, who is trying to show that he takes everything in stride and he's not a bad guy. He's just like, yeah, I get it. Brendan was his friend and they're fine. And he does come from the Mary school of like, I wasn't trying to get too like invested in everyone else in the pod. So I was keeping to myself. So I get why they didn't like me. Just like, okay, but it felt more like people didn't like Nick because he was being fake, and I was like, of course, Joe is just going to apologize and be like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said that stuff," instead of being like, "No, bro, you're fake." It does take Kate calling Nick out for his apology by still saying, "Yeah, but it doesn't sound genuine though." Like I get you're apologizing, but I don't really believe it. Which is of course what she was going to do. That's what, no matter what came out of Nick's mouth, she wasn't going to believe it. Which is, like Mary said, that's what has to happen here. Nick has to fakely apologize, whether it was fake or genuine or not, because we're all going to say, well, that's what you had to do. Right. So it just kind of went to script the way it should.
And then Annie was like, no, I do. I think it was genuine. It's very sincere.
Of course.
Like, why are you
again? Jason, I think I'm with you. I think that there must have been more she said that they cut out for whatever reason, because it just seemed so weird that she spoke the least out of pretty much anyone at the entire reunion, considering that she was a very large character who was there up until the final episode. And the fact that she did seem to be relatively on his side, like she spoke up for him about that, but also when they were talking about the love bombing, she was kind of like, yeah, but like the, emotions are really high in the pods. I think a lot of people liked multiple people, blah, blah, blah. And so I have to believe that she said more, but it almost seems like, wait, hang on. Are you guys friends now?
Yeah, I was like, are you guys dating? Are you in a relationship right now?
And I think Nick and Annie were the only two who we didn't get the question of like, are y'all dating anybody? Like, what's the status?
No, we also didn't get it for Calabria and Edmund.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
Mm-hmm. It was an odd vibe, and I just don't think Kate should be having more to say than Annie does. It's like,
Kate shouldn't have more to say than anybody on that stage.
It's weird.
We did find out that Kate is single, but went on dates with Brendan. So both of these two people's other person went on dates, and then it didn't work out with Brendan and Kate because Brendan was all over Casey.
Man, everyone it's just such a insular environment where everyone's just dating everyone. Like, oh, this just feels incestuous in sort of way. It's odd.
Because the way that Kate tried to justify it was like everybody was just dating everybody, just like we did on the show. But there were people that did get engaged, right? And the ultimate goal of this is marriage. They act like this is just one big real world house where everybody's just dating everybody. This isn't Perfect Match, okay? And that's where they buried the lead starting this reunion. They should have came in there like some principles, like, y'all, we have things to discuss because y'all just made history by no one getting married. So that's
and they never brought that up once.
Never brought it up.
Never.
They came in there like, hey, we're here to play some games, talk, chit chat. No,
it's weird that Love is Blind is trying to make like, and they've been doing this for the last few years, trying to make the reunion into like a variety show, like this is the Muppet Show or something. We're trying to do a whole bunch of different skits and fun things. Like, no, a reunion is here to hash out the issues, delve more into it, get a little more information. But this was just such a hodgepodge of different things. It was all over.
It was just odd.
Yeah.
Okay, so they had 2 couples left and couldn't transition into them because there was no crossover of relations. But they got into Anton and Allie, which, you know, it was interesting because it seemed like Anton was just he was mostly focused on how like Melissa came in there and tried to like, you know, say bad things about him when Vanessa's like, are they still together? He's like, no. Like, duh. That's a given.
It was like, Anton and Allie, give us nothing on the show. Also, give us nothing on the reunion. I was like, okay, like, this is like the shortest segment that gave us probably the least amount of information out there.
Yeah, they basically just trashed on Anton's friend's girlfriend who doesn't appear to be in the picture anymore. And that was about it.
It was really it's funny because he's like, oh, she just wanted her 15 minutes of fame, but then it was like, but they also were in the bathroom and didn't realize like that would specifically make the show.
Yeah, I actually completely disagree with that. I think the girl was trying to be a girl's girl. I don't think that she was trying to be famous.
Yeah, right, exactly. That's I'm like, I don't think she knew that was gonna make it.
I thought it was more about she was trying to make sure her man didn't get into any shenanigans, because when they went to the bathroom, she's like, there's gonna be no like strip clubs, right? Because I don't want my man going to a strip club because bad things happen when my guy goes to a strip club.
Yeah, and he seemed more bothered by thinking like their relationship didn't work out because of it started with what Melissa was saying. And he's like, she's not even a picture anymore. So how did that like affect us? When Allie's like, no, it actually was way more than that. She said it started when you wore those flip-flops in Baja.
But then we have a whole issue that we didn't really touch on or hear about during the whole show of like, well, you didn't talk to me out when we got out of the pods about anything. We never had a serious conversation. It's like, wait, what? Like, how did we not really hear about that? There wasn't a critique she had of him during the show. Like, why? What is this new issue we have coming up now?
It feels like more topical. I think the way the show made it look was the reason she said no at the altar when she was saying he's not the same person was because of the lifestyle choices, the partying, that kind of thing. And it seems like she was trying to say, well, no, I said the thing at the altar because I felt like we didn't communicate outside of the pods. Like we didn't have real conversations, and that the only times to me that you were seeming to get deep at all was when the cameras were rolling because you knew I wanted to hear that from you, but it felt like I was talking to a wall other times, which is weird because he had the complete opposite like view on it. So it's like, yeah, clearly y'all don't communicate well.
Yeah, and then they talk about like, well, you would come in from work and not even say a word to me, and then he was like, well, yeah, I just worked a 14-hour shift, like as if that's just extremely acceptable behavior to like come inside no matter how long you've been working, no matter what you've been doing, and not to at least speak to your significant other and say, hey, what's up? How are you? Like the amount of things these people think are acceptable to do in a relationship is wild. It's like Jordan being like, you know, sometimes we're just gonna sit and stare at each other. I don't know what to tell you. Like, what? Like, what are you talking about? It was so great. Like, yeah, you know, I just want to come home, have breakfast, watch TV, and go to bed. Then stay single. Like, why are you trying to get married?
Right, yeah.
Like,
what do you want marriage for?
Yeah. Like, what's the plan, Stan? What are you doing?
Exactly. But I thought it was kind of funny that they decided at the very end to show us what she was talking about. Of all the things in the reunion, let's show you the moment that Anton wore flip-flops.
And you know what, Asia? I didn't even clock that. I didn't even like, because they showed that at the very end, and I was like, is this a blooper? What are they showing us? Like, and then it went off, and I was like, okay, that was random. Like, what the hell? And then you just unlocked that for me. I was like, oh, yeah, I guess. But it made such a non-impact on me during the reunion that when they showed it, I was like, well, what are they showing this for?
And it's so odd which people the reunion show allows to get away with just giving non-answers and being like, oh, haha, I knew I didn't like him ever since the flip-flops. And they're all just like, oh, haha, yeah. And then they just let it slide versus the people who will say stuff like that. And they're like, no, but really.
But
Let's get into it.
did they think they were giving us a cuties moment? Like, because
Yeah.
I don't
when
know.
Yeah, because
It's
it
more
was
like a
two
blooper.
things. It was the flip flops and then sitting in silence, which she was saying that they didn't have much conversation. They're like, we got to show those two things to support Allie's claims.
oh no, it doesn't hit. Like the cuties hit. I was like,
Well,
oh,
trick or
okay.
treat.
Oh, here we go. Like, yeah, let's get the report. But yeah, it's like, did you think you were eating with that? Like you that hit me so like not even at all that I was confused at the end why you were showing this. So did it have any impact? I guess it did for Asia. For me, it was just like, oh, like
No, I was so confused that I had to make sense of it. And
yeah,
so
yeah.
I like
You
quit.
figured it
I
out.
was like, oh, this is why we saw that. Because why?
Yeah, you figured it out. You had to do with formulas and equations to
Yeah.
figure it out, but you got there. But for me, it's just like, I thought, like, did we go into like a bloopers episode at the end of the
Yeah.
like what like no, oh no, that was the end of the reunion.
Yeah, because then I was like,
why?
oh, okay, they're showing us this in this moment. Maybe they're gonna show us a couple things from other couples. No. They said no. The only thing of that whole reunion that needs some more clarification is Allie.
Bizarre.
It was
All
insane.
right, Mary.
Speaking of bizarre, I'm looking out the window. I'm still trying to figure out what two of those kids were dressed up as. One was in some giant like blow up something or other, and I don't know what it was. It was green. And then there was a dad who was definitely dressed like a piece of bread. I don't understand, but he was just like holding a big thing. We had a Lilo and Stitch, very cute. And then I don't know, a kid who was in some sort of very cool looking homemade costume, but I don't know what it was. It might have been like supposed to be like a pile of leaves or like a stink bug. I'm not sure. It was cool, but I don't know what it was.
and what did you give them?
Two of the kids really wanted Tootsie Rolls, and I had like the really big giant Tootsie Rolls, so they took those, and then the other two also took those gross gummy Jolly Rancher things.
Tootsie Rolls get too much hate. I love me some Tootsie Rolls. They get stuck in the teeth, but
they're okay.
They're good. Yeah,
they're okay. I think Tootsie Rolls are like fudge. It's like they're fine, but they're not chocolate.
Yeah, no, I don't go out buying Tootsie Rolls, but if someone's like, hey, I got some spare Tootsie Rolls, you want some? I'll be like, yeah, I'll take some Tootsie Rolls.
If it's like in their pocket.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about that. if I see you take it out of your pocket, I'm not going to have it. But just don't tell me it was in your pocket and I'll take it.
Yeah.
I feel like the last time I had a Tootsie Roll was at the 4th of July when I was like helping kids pick up the candy that was thrown at a parade. And then I took some.
Tootsie Rolls are the best free candy. Like, you know, whether it's like in a bowl, in a waiting room, or it's like
I love the
Tootsie
soft
Rolls,
mints.
Yeah, Tootsie Rolls and Dum Dums are like they should be free.
Yeah. Like I would never
they should be free always.
I would never buy a Tootsie Roll to have like in the moment. But if you got a free Tootsie Roll, I'll definitely take that. Like, you know, that's the perfect thing for a Tootsie Roll to be. But yes, Allie and Anton.
Anyway,
to wrap up,
we're still talking about Allie and Anton.
We find out that Anton's been in a relationship for a year with Miranda, who was one of the girls that they showed.
Mm-hmm.
And then Allie said, "I'm sorry, but Love is Blind is the last time I'm public about any of my relationships."
I know.
Said,
it was giving like,
I want to keep it private.
I appreciate that she said that.
It was like, ooh, Anton's doing well in a relationship. Ooh,
yeah, me too.
I'm not. So let me just say it's private. Like, you don't have to give us the date of birth and the name and the social security number of your significant other if you have one. But I think the best spot to say is like, I just don't want to say, because I don't want to say here that Anton has moved on and I haven't.
She's moved on. She just is single.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
Okay. Last and certainly least to this reunion, because they literally were like, oh, 14 minutes left. Let's go ahead. And I forgot Edmund and KB were on stage. Sorry. Let's go ahead and unpack them.
Listen, they're like, listen, guys, we only have this outdoor space for 2 hours, and we spent so much time on the basketball game. We got to rush you guys, Edmund and KB. Come on, let's go. Say what you gotta say. Let's get out of here.
Yes. And it's like, even catching up with them was interesting because, I mean, they showed that in like the preview they released after the like finale had come out, where they showed like KB pulling a paper out, and it was ooh, receipts. But she was like, oh, I just have a bad memory.
Oh man, they like, there's some like really like, there's a lot of fraud in these previews of showing things that don't actually happen, with Anton being like, oh, she's looking for 15 minutes of fame, act like he was talking about Allie, and it was just the friends' girlfriends. Like, okay, you got us there. And also with KB pulling out the quote unquote receipts, which if what's her face? What was her name? Madison. If Madison hadn't done that last season, it wouldn't have even been shown because everyone now thinks when someone goes to their shirt, they're going to pull out something significant. And now here was just KB pulling out random notes.
Just basically her support for her claims about him being dismissive off camera and all the reasons that she didn't want to move forward with things with him, which it all felt very repetitive. Like we didn't get any new information that has even transpired since the wedding. It was all just going back over the same things of he was dismissive off camera.
Context,
yeah,
no new clips, nothing. It was the same conversation we already heard.
And everything he was saying was all the same stuff we kept hearing. He chose her every day. They had miscommunication issues. And but the only thing that was kind of new, well, no, it was the same of him denying what happened. He's like, no, that didn't happen. That didn't happen. So, okay, now we're just in he said, she said. I mean,
just flat out saying that thing, that's very specific, because we know if KB can do one thing, is tell a story and tell things exactly how they happened.
Yeah.
And for Edmund to just go like, none of that actually happened. Like, what? Like,
and he's like, oh, but I don't remember. That's what it is.
I like that. And then she was like, you know what? I respect that.
Yeah. And I do think, is it him blocking these things out?
No, Vanessa, I think it absolutely is what Vanessa said, which I did appreciate her saying. She's like, basically the mediator in this situation is like, hey, Edmund, you are an eternal optimist. And I feel like, with your upbringing that you have learned to block out conflict or tough conversations or, or negative experiences. And I was like, okay, Vanessa.
Yeah, actually adding value. Look at you. Right. And it was like, because I don't think Edmund thinks he has a mean bone in his body.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So it's surprising to him that people would think he is mean, or as someone, which I would need to know more context about this. Someone quote unquote called him obnoxious as they were waiting in line to get into the apartments. I'm like, is someone part of the cast? Is someone a production person?
Yeah, it's the crew.
Who is someone? I'm like trying to figure out who someone is.
Yeah.
I'm just wondering if someone on the stage is like, oh yeah, that was me. I hope they don't call me out for that. Like, it was weird how they were dancing around that topic.
The thing
everybody knows it was Joe.
The thing that frustrated me most with Edmund throughout the season, and we got it more here, is that he would do something that would upset Calabria, and then she would call him out on it, and his response would be, you're upsetting me by telling me that I'm upsetting you. Why don't you ever say nice things about me? Why is it always, nagging and bringing up the negative things? And it was like flipping it around. Oh shoot, now he's the victim, that kind of, and people do this all the time. And I completely understand how frustrating it could be to be like, gosh, we have good times and you never bring those up. You only, talk about the bad times. I get that. I can understand that part. But it's also like, well, dude, if she's bringing up the things you're doing over and over and your response is always just, well, now I'm sad that you called me out on something. This is why we're in this situation.
Yeah. I mean, because even him, just like, all this time has passed and she felt that he was being manipulative. And he's like, I'm not manipulative. Well, then let's unpack why she felt that way.
Right.
You aren't intending to be manipulative, but if you hear the things that she's saying, and in what she's perceiving about what you're doing, then you can understand how she views that as manipulative. You don't have to be this evil bad guy to have manipulated a situation.
But we can't unpack it if he is going to literally deny things happened and say, no, that never happened. So we can't unpack that because in his mind, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So
he refused to admit that he dropped on his knees.
Refused.
She was like, no, it was right before you went into the cabinet.
Like, it could be on camera and he'd be like, no,
I didn't do that.
That didn't happen. AI.
Right. She did apologize for cussing at him. When she just when they were up on that in that mountain. So she was like, you don't deserve that.
Asia Ski Chalet is what they've renamed it now.
Right. The place I have in common with them. But and I did like her saying, you don't deserve anybody to talk to you that way. So even if you are, if you get talked to like that, like I did you, You don't deserve that. And I need you to know that. Because he was like, something would have had to gone like so wrong for me to stop loving you. So he was basically saying like he was accepting any treatment he was getting until he just like would reach a breaking point to decide that he deserved better. So
I don't know that that's the flex he thinks it is. Of just being like, I was a good person because even though things weren't working out and you were upset with me, I loved you anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And it's so interesting too that like them and Anton and Allie were like the two relationships nobody else chimed in on.
Yeah.
Like nobody else had their 2 cents that they wanted to add. So I thought that was interesting. But they ended it with a hug.
Yeah.
Yeah. It ended well. And you know, I thought we had a good ending.
I thought the credits were about to roll.
Yeah, we're joking about
they should have probably.
They should have.
Yeah, we joked about, hey, everyone's getting a chicken smoothie, even though like I'm sure when Jordan made the joke earlier, Nick was like, damn, he's taking my joke I'm gonna make later in the program. But he did it anyway. He's like, hey, everyone, we're getting chicken smoothies. Psych, just kidding. It is Jordan's birthday. We have cake here. And guess what? Blake is here to give the cake.
Protein ice cream, actually.
Well, Jordan had like an actual cake, I thought. Like a little
why
cake
do we gotta be putting protein in everything? Was it a cake or was it just a really big container?
I thought it was a big container of the protein ice cream.
I think it's just
it was
the
cake. But anyway, like
it was very
like
whatever flavor it was.
And Blake is here to deliver this. I'm like, did Blake's
been sitting backstage?
Oh wait, that was Blake?
Yes.
Because Jordan was like, oh hey. Yeah. And I'm just like, well, how did Blake get off scot-free?
Blake's ghosting got brought up earlier, and everybody was like, well, Blake's a really good guy.
No, everybody was like, oh no, we don't blame Blake. Blake's cool.
Jordan's like, since Blake isn't here, I'll speak for him, which is like interesting because he was super surprised that Blake was here.
Blake's backstage like, I'm a surprise him at the end.
If only he knew.
You know what? Shout out to Blake. I liked Blake from the start. Remember, I retract this if anything ever comes out negative about Blake.
But did Blake show up and Blake was like, I'm not going to say nothing about nothing. I am willing to come on and deliver to Jordan a big old thing of protein. If I'll do that, but I'm not talking about why I ghosted anyone. I'm not talking about anything else. It was so weird.
Yeah, I think the one part, like if we were gonna have Kate on here, we should have had Anna as well.
I think Anna probably refused to come on. I feel like Anna is probably very like she realizes that the reality TV thing was not for her. It was not like something that either her or her family approved of, and she is just like quietly stepping away from that. Because I feel like she obviously had to be, invited to come on. I would imagine.
What was weird is like Anna should have quit after when she left at the pods, because then there was still some intrigue. There was some, maybe she was just overwhelmed and she went home. But then she came back like for the pod squad party, and it was kind of like a little bit like, eh.
I'm wondering if that's part of the contract. Like you have to show up to like show sanctioned events, but maybe the reunion is not included in that. I don't know. But it was an odd thing for Blake to come out and just be like, well, we're not gonna, because Blake literally ghosted Sparkle Megan, and we're not gonna talk about it. Why or ask why he did that. He's just here to deliver stuff to Jordan. I was like, that's weird. Either leave him backstage, because now that I know that he's here, I'll be like, well, why didn't you question him? Like, why is like what's the deal there? So it was, again, just another odd thing to add on top of the other very odd things that happened on this reunion.
Entire odd reunion.
Yeah, for sure.
It just it missed the mark. I just didn't think that. I don't know. I don't know why it turned, like you said, I don't know why it turned into this variety show. I think we need, if we're gonna have a Love Is Blind 10, let's get back on track. Because one thing that I was like, well, at least maybe we'll get some type of announcement for the next season. Like last time they were like, oh, we're going to Denver. They didn't even do that.
Yeah, because last time they probably already filmed the Denver one. It was so long ago.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sure they have something filmed.
Because they did them back to back.
I'm sure they have something filmed in the can and ready for us to watch on Valentine's Day.
Yeah,
I assume.
So
I don't think this is ending anytime soon, but given this season, this is like,
this was sad. This was disappointing.
Like should we get more Love is Blind? I don't want to speak too loud because
Love is not blind. They've proved it.
they've proved it. Love's not blind. This season proved it. Unless I think we have these lulls every season, every other season. We're like, I don't know. Is this a show that should continue? And then they come out with a banger season. We're just like, oh, this is great. So I think it's just about like the specific seasons and how they are. I think this will be a very low rated season if we're doing season rankings. I just think it would be in the bottom, like definitely in the bottom half of seasons.
Yeah. All right. Now that we've wrapped up season 9 of Love is Blind, anything else about Love is Blind season 9?
I do have something to say.
Thank you for raising your hand.
Yes. I went to the trouble of wearing a non-black shirt.
Wow.
And nobody said anything about it.
I couldn't figure out why you look different.
No one said, "Oh, Jason, you're not wearing a black shirt today." Since it was
that gray?
It's blue. It's blue. And make sure it wasn't gray either. Okay, I was just like, let me find another color. It was such a topic of conversation last episode, but nobody decided to mention it this episode. So I just wanted to put it out there.
You just really looked like you fit in, Yeah. So it just felt, it made sense. Do this more often. Next week or next season, I challenge you to wear orange.
Wow,
oh gosh,
orange.
Actually, I wore orange in favor of you. At the Survivor Live show.
Yeah. I appreciate
to support you, Asia. I wore orange, your tribe color, even after you had been voted out when we were at the live show. So yeah, I am capable. I had to buy that shirt too because I had no other orange.
Whoa. Well, orange was in like support of just like I love orange, and I didn't want anything to do with red.
It was a mandate from the Rob has a podcast. She's like, I'm going to wear orange to support Asia. I was like, I don't have anything that's orange. It's like, it's gonna go find something.
Wow. Why am I finding out about this a year later?
You didn't know? Yeah.
No, I didn't know you had to buy a shirt.
Oh, I'm expecting to be reimbursed for that. You didn't know?
Right. Oh, okay. Well, thank y'all so much for sticking with us on this coverage of Love is Blind season 9. We made it through. Hopefully you enjoyed our coverage as much as we enjoyed chatting about it. Jason, where can people find you? Keep up with what you're doing.
You can find me and Asia on the Perfect Match podcast as we are running through the Married at First Sight season 19. We are on the second drop of episodes. We just released that episode this week. So check that out. We also got to talk to Pastor Cal from Married at First Sight. Fun time. It was our second time talking to him. He's become like part of the family now. We're having fun joking with Pastor Cal over there. So a very fun interview over there. You can also find me on The Good Pod, talking to Marissa Garza, as we talk about as we rewatch the show The Good Wife and talk about the current season of Elsbeth, which is a Good Wife spinoff. So check me out on The Good Pod as well. Mary, what about you? Asia's last.
Yeah, Mary, when did it get dark there?
Probably about 5 minutes ago.
What a question, Asia. When did it get dark?
I don't know.
There?
No, because we rolled back on the video.
I just looked, and it was like when you were your last trick or treaters, the sun was up.
What's confusing is I'm watching a video on my computer of my Ring doorbell, and just the way that the lighting is on that, it actually still looks pretty bright. Except my pumpkin is now lit up outside, and I didn't. So
yeah, so, Asia, when this drops, just go back and watch as the light turns.
Yeah.
Hey, everybody remember what is it? Turn your clocks back. Fall back? Is it fall back?
That this weekend, right?
I think this weekend. Mm-hmm. On my front, pretty much got nothing going on, which is great for me because October was so busy. So anyway, I'm home. It's very exciting. I've got probably about 3 more days of life like this before my sister has a baby. So this is where we're at. Doing great though. Yes, I'm very excited. Asia, what about you? What do you have going on?
Yeah, y'all can follow me at Asia like Asia. That's AYSHA like ASIA. Yes, full swing in Married at First Sight coverage. And if you are at the San Francisco RHAP live show, I will be there. So come say hi. Please let us know that you're watching Love is Blind. I enjoyed meeting all the people in New York who were enjoying our Love is Blind coverage. And look, we're just finishing it and it's already another live show. So if you are going, make sure you come say hi.
I will say this. I will put this is the last time Love is Blind watchers, listeners are going to see us for a while. Married at First Sight is here. Now,
Is it?
it's yes,
Right.
Mary. Married at First Sight is here. I keep preaching. If you like Love is Blind, you will enjoy Married at First Sight, especially now. It's the same type of format. It's the same type of mess. This season is already better than this season of Married at First Sight is already better than this season of Love is Blind was.
Yeah.
So check us out. I keep saying it. But I don't see many viewers on the YouTube for Married at First Sight as I see Love is Blind. So each one of y'all that are watching right now, you need to come over because it's a lot of fun over there.
But there have been people that have left comments on our Married at First Sight coverage that have said, hey, I'm here for the first time because I heard y'all say that I would like Married at First Sight, and you were correct. So this is our final time this season letting you know that you would enjoy Married at First Sight. If you want to keep the good times rolling, but make them even gooder, come on over to A Perfect Match.
Mary's not there because she refuses to watch Married at First Sight for some reason. I don't know what she has against it.
I live my life where I can only see and hear from Jason twice a year.
You can only take so much. You can only take so much. I understand. I get it. I don't know how Asia has dealt with it for the past few years.
I don't know how many people wake up nowadays and just go, you know what I think I need in my life? Another TV show to be not caught up on.
Yeah.
True.
So thank y'all so much for sticking with us. We enjoyed the ride. And hopefully I see you over there on our Married at First Sight coverage. All right. See y'all next time. Bye.
Bye.
This is RHAP. We know reality TV.